Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 25th, 2016. I'm Keith Tebow. On this week's show, Donna Mata speaks with the Executive Director of the Housing Authority on the status of the housing units in the city's Corky Row neighborhood. We'll get you set for Tuesday's presidential primary by talking with the chair of the Fall River Board of Elections. And we get an update on Fall River's Fitness Challenge. But let's start the show as we do each week by bringing in our good friend Will Richmond from the Herald News, live from downtown Fall River. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How you doing?
Good. Week's been treating you well?
It's been a busy one.
It has been. So let's get right to it. The first story is still obviously in the news. Last Friday night, actually early Saturday morning, general alarm fire broke out at the Weaver Street location of the Border City Mill number 3. It was a general alarm fire. Fortunately, no one was injured, no fatalities. It was one of those big conflagrations as we've seen in Fall River in the past in terms of mill fires. And I guess as of right now, just give us an update. I know that there's been a reward offered for information. Is there anything new on that front?
Well, as of this time, there still has not been an official determination if it's been arson or started otherwise. The investigation is ongoing, and they are continuing to search for causes, it seems. So at this point, it seems they've got a lot of rubble to poke through, and that's the main goal at this moment.
And I know when you see something like that, which is very dramatic to see, and your staff did a great job getting photos and also aggregating photos from those in the neighborhood on Facebook and also on your website. It's an impressive scene, a very dangerous one. And I know that when something like this happens, and I've lived through the big fires in Fall River, the mill fires of the early 80s and the fire at Notre Dame Church. I was in high school at the time and lived through that. The city does and has for a long time has had an issue with having to deal with the potential of these type of fires. And I know some was talked about this week about in relation to the Border City Mill fire on other vacant mills in Fall River. First and foremost, the King Philip Mill, which is a lot closer to a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, well, certainly a fire like that is going to inflame concerns about mill fires, especially in the vacant mills around the city. I think it is important to note, though, in terms of a major fire, I believe this is the first one since 1999. I know there have been some smaller ones, such as the former Duro Mill down at down near the New Cuss Middle School. King Philip Mill had a small fire a couple years ago. And I believe there was even a smaller fire either at the same mill or nearby just last summer. But in terms of major concern about mills going up, the city has been pretty lucky. There haven't been any significant ones in a couple of years until this one. So hopefully, while there is the concern and that's something to take seriously, we should also kind of remind ourselves that they don't tend to happen that often.
That's true. That's definitely true. One of the things that I want to bring up, and just wrapping up this this news item, is again, fortunately, there were no injuries. There was plenty of mutual aid from neighboring communities to make up for the city fire department, because just about the entire city fire department was at the scene of this fire. There's been a lot of talk as of late concerning the staffing of the Fall River Fire Department. And, you want to see no one getting hurt, and that's the key thing. But you kind of wonder if there's, I don't know if you've heard any conversations about, because this went well, whether there's still a talk about staffing issues, but whether it has been heightened or lessened in any respect in terms of fire department funding and fire department staffing.
I don't think that's been the case. I haven't heard any talk specifically about the staffing levels. It probably helped that this fire did occur early morning. There were fewer things going on, I would think. I do know the fire department is about to, if they haven't left yet, they've got a group of 10 to 12 firefighters that are either entering or just beginning the fire academy. 10 of those are through the SAFER grant that former Mayor Sutter agreed to apply for last year, and the city was successful in receiving. So the numbers I think there's recognition that from many in the city that 200 is sort of the goal number for fire
Yeah.
staffing, and that's something that I think they're going to continue to aim for regardless of events such as this weekend's fire.
All right, we'll continue to follow on the investigation to last Saturday's fire. Let's move to a topic that we've talked about almost every week here on the show, the reorganization of city government and Mayor Jazel Correa's ideas. Well, one piece of that has finally been decided. The City Council this week voting to amend the ordinance to, in effect, create an extra position within the Department of the DCM department here in the city of Fall River, opening up that job for Ken Pacheco to now be in charge of city buildings. I know last week during the ordinance committee, there appeared to be some questions by some of the councilors on that committee, even though the committee did vote to move it forward to the full council. But it looked like with the 6-2 vote with Council President Kadim not voting, not being at the meeting this week, it looked like a lot of those answers may have been satisfied.
Yeah, there seems to have been maybe some discussions behind the scenes in terms of the passage of this. I think there are probably some in the city, whether it's the council coming from the mayor's office or even Ken Pacheco himself, who may have felt that it was best to just sort of move on this issue. The mayor had his prerogative, didn't seem to be looking to budge from it. And as such, this was either going to happen. Ken was going to be put into a lesser position as a project manager,
Right.
or potentially, out of a job in the lowest sort of case scenario. So, it may have just been a decision on all three sides to move forward and just kind of make this transition, and that will be best for everyone.
I know one of the things that we'll be seeing going forward as the city is preparing its fiscal 2017 budget, whether there will be other reorganization measures by the Correa administration. We've talked about in the past that the mayor is investigating the possibility of privatizing trash service. That has not been decided as of yet, although you had an article in the paper, it was either late last week or early this week, from the rank and file of those that are currently working in the sanitation department saying that, hey, listen, we've been doing a good job here. We should continue to do a good job and actually, ask us our opinion.
Yeah, well, certainly we know RFPs have gone out from private trash haulers to find out what their cost would be to do this. I think it would be wise of the city to hear from all sides, including the current DCM workers, if they think they have a competitive proposal. Just as any private company that feels they can handle the waste hauling should be given the opportunity to submit their proposal. Mm-hmm. All sides should be heard, and that can only benefit the city if the best proposal is the one that moves forward.
Right. Also at the City Council this week, the Council on Tuesday voted to accept the tax incremental financing agreement to allow Market Basket to build a facility at the Harbor Mall site in the far south end of Fall River. And that, of course, is going to be part of a bigger retail project that will be going on there. It doesn't seem, it seems like the councilors at times may be put in a difficult position when there are potential for a lot of jobs when these TIFs come up, for them to vote no. I know that Councilor Steve Camara voted against this TIF. Are sometimes councils put in a difficult position knowing that the city needs jobs, but on the other hand, there may also be some tax implications by providing such a TIF?
Oh, it can be difficult. TIFs do provide some significant tax breaks, and that appears to be the case in this situation. And you have the flip side of the jobs it could create, but I think in this sort of era of tax breaks, when it comes to development, the problem becomes if you're not willing to offer it, another community is, and the companies are looking for the best deal to them, they'll create jobs somewhere else, and other communities will be happy to have those jobs created, even if that means creating a tax break for them. So, while counselors can kind of balance the break versus the jobs, you kind of have to hope that the balance on the other hand becomes collecting more taxes from those, payroll taxes or income tax from those residents that are now working in those jobs rather than residents that weren't previously working.
Yeah, and the good thing is, on the surface right now, looks like it's going to bring, a good number of jobs to the region, and that's a good thing with Fall River's unemployment rate being as it is. One final topic I want to bring up: this coming Tuesday is primary day, presidential primary day here in Massachusetts, part of the Super Tuesday election period for the primary season. How has the Herald News been covering this? We haven't seen, I don't think we've seen any presidential candidates really in Massachusetts since this whole process started middle of last year. How are you guys going to be covering this?
Well, certainly the South Coast has not been the place for any of the presidential candidates. I know, Bernie Sanders was at UMass Amherst earlier this week. Donald Trump made his Worcester appearance. I read today that John Kasich will be in Plymouth, I believe, tomorrow. So they're around the state, just not locally.
Right.
But we'll be heading out on Saturday. The Democrat City Committee is holding their caucus Saturday morning, so we're going to head over there and check things out, see how people there feel about the primary. Though it does look from polling that Bernie Sanders is the choice for Massachusetts right now.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll recap this next week on the show. Will, what's going on at the paper for the next few days?
Well, on Sunday, we will actually be looking at the primary, just kind of getting out some reminders on what people should know as they head to the polls. Like I said, we'll be recapping the caucus meeting on Saturday and how people feel about the Democratic race. And then next week will be primary on Tuesday, and whatever this city holds for us as the days go on.
And we never know. That's what makes our job so exciting, right, Will?
So true, so true.
All right, Will Richmond from the Herald News. We appreciate it. Thanks. We'll talk again next week.
All right, good seeing you, Keith.
We'll have more of FRC Media News right after this.
These are the hot jobs for this week. Job number 685-3432, forklift operator. Job number 688-9505, greenhouse assistant. Job number 684-0003, customer service rep. Job number 687-8908, welder. Job number 689-8923, team member. Job number 686-187, sandwich maker. For more information, call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River Housing Authority has been investigating the future use of its property in the city's Corky Row neighborhood. FRC Media News editor Donna Mata gets an update from Housing Authority Executive Director David Sullivan.
I'm sitting here with Housing Authority Executive Director Dave Sullivan, who's been in the position quite a few years, and we go way back as well. And
we're going to talk quite a few.
Oh,
three,
yes,
anyways.
yes, but yeah, just 3 or 4. We're not going to date ourselves here, but you're going to give us an update of the Corky Row project.
Yeah, the issue that's been prevalent in the community is that we do have 3 vacant buildings in the Corky Row area, and believe me, I mean, it's sort of a black eye to us as well. However, this building is also controlled by the state under the purview of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And in order for us to be able to demolish it, we need to get permission from them. According to state statutes, we need to, first of all, rule out any chance of being able to have it renovated and then have the person, say a private nonprofit, put affordable housing in. There actually was an outside section, I think it was the FY 2014 budget, that allowed a new disposition process, which would first go to private nonprofits where you could sell the property to them, and they would, because they're getting it for $1, they would then put affordable housing in it. The second thing would be that if that didn't work, I would do another RFP out to the general public and fair market value, and then they could do with it. This is all based on us getting permission from DHCD. And it's interesting that you just asked, Donna, because it was Friday. They had come down to inspect those buildings, and we just got the report back Friday. So we're sort of going through that report, and we're hopeful that this is going to be the opportunity to work with DHCD and the city of Fall River to move forward and to do something with these buildings, whether we end up demolishing them, whether we renovate, one or two of them, but there are three actually, but some of them are in dire shape.
I was going to say, what are some of the inherent problems?
Well, first of all, they're in a tough neighborhood. And we don't like the fact that we have vacant buildings in tough neighborhoods. That's a problem. It's just that the wear and tear on these buildings, it's structurally, there's some question about some of these buildings as to whether they could in fact be renovated.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the safety issue, if there is indeed one.
So the engineer who came down from DHCD had done a comprehensive look, and we're reviewing what they sent down back to us finally. And
that's the state, the Community of Housing.
Yeah, Department of Housing and Community Development.
Okay.
And they have sent back their findings on it. I can tell you that to renovate those three buildings would be extremely costly, even if they feel that it's possible to do that. I'm not so sure that it would even be cost effective, but we'll have to wait and see.
And I know you've been waiting for the state even to get this report, this recent report.
Well, yeah, it was months ago that we initiated the fact that we wanted to get them down to look at it from a management level and from an engineer level. And they went through the buildings, we went through it with them, and we've been sort of sitting on the edge of our seats waiting for a response. And we finally did get the report back on Friday.
And what's the step from here?
Well, we're going to, obviously, we're going to sort of disseminate the report. We're going to look at it, and then we're going to be in communication with DHCD, and, hopefully we can move forward and decide what our path is going to be to deal with these buildings.
Very good, Dave. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. I'm Donna Mata, FRC Media News.
The 2016 presidential campaign comes to Massachusetts this Tuesday as the state holds its Republican and Democratic presidential primaries. Donna spoke with Fall River Election Commission Chairperson Elizabeth Camara on how city voters can participate in the primary.
And polls will open at 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. Also, we're doing absentee voting already. It's been going on for a few weeks now, so if there's anybody not going to be around Fall River on that day, the day that the polls are opening, they could come in and vote absentee or tell us to send them an application, and they can apply and we can do it through the mail. So they have until noontime the day before election to apply for an absentee. So we hope that it will be a busy day. People get out there and vote.
Are you expecting that, though, with the presidential primary?
We don't always get a lot of people for the presidential primary, not as much as what we should. But we don't know because now this time it's a new president. It's not like we're voting for a re-election of a president. So I think there tends to be a little more interest on this one. So I think maybe we will get more than last time.
Do you think some of the 18-year-old young people will be voting this time around, just in your opinion?
I think so. It's something new for them. It's you see so much being said on TV, so maybe that's kind of given them that boost. And now they were able to register to vote online. So we did get every day a lot of people were registering. So, and it was a lot of young people. So hopefully, people will get out there.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Forever Paws has all kind of different kind of dogs. This is Beanie. He's a Chihuahua. And he's Chihuahua to all sense of the word. He is a little Napoleon with his attitude. He doesn't like men that much. Certain men he can warm up to, but for the most part, he doesn't want anything to do with them. He's no good with cats or other dogs. He's about 4 to 5 years old. So if you're someone who just needs a companion, you're all by yourself, he'd probably make the perfect dog. This is Romeo. We had 10 cats from one house, and he's one of the last 2 that are still here. He's about 3 years old. He's a very handsome fellow. He does get along with other cats, and he does get along with dogs. So consider him when you're looking for a cat. He is a love.
The Fall River Fitness Challenge has now become a tradition in Fall River around the new year for those looking to get in shape. Nearly 2 months into the new year, we can get an update on the challenge. Here's correspondent Brandon Medeiros.
The Fitness Challenge has been around for 9 years now, and we are well into our 9th season. We're 7 weeks in, we're going strong. We've had great turnouts, and we're really, really excited about what's happening this year.
Absolutely. So what are your main goals for maybe in the next couple of months?
So we just want to keep it consistent. We've had about 530 people sign up for the Fitness Challenge this year, and we've had a nice amount of people coming to each challenge, about 75 at the least, which is really exciting. We've had 15 people coming to the walking groups. We've seen an increase in our nutrition classes, about 15 to 30 on any given Saturday. So we've had just to keep the consistency going would be a goal, and to make sure that people finish strong.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long has this fitness challenge been established?
This is our 9th year. And a couple years ago, we expanded to the greater Fall River area rather than just the city of Fall River. So we're serving Westport, Swansea, and Somerset as well.
Now, have you seen a steady growth and development for your fitness challenge?
Yeah, I mean, we started out really, really large. So we used to have about 1,000 people sign up, but only about 20 people come to the challenges. So we've seen a little bit less in the numbers of signups, but we've seen a ton more consistency throughout the past few years.
Now, you're alluding to a new location for your fitness challenge. How is this going to affect the development?
So this is our first year that our main hub is not the Bank Street Armory, because Greater Fall River Recreation needed to move. So we're now located in the 2nd District Courthouse, the old 2nd District Courthouse at 45 Rock Street. So we had to have signups in a couple of different places, but our main hub for the Fitness Challenge now is Cuss Middle School. So we have most of our challenges there in the gymnasium. We have the weigh-ins in the cafeteria, the nutrition classes happening in the community room, and we've actually seen a great response from this. We have a ton of people saying that there's a nice big amount of space, so not everybody's all clustered together while they're waiting before they're getting into the gym. There's plenty of room for a walking group to be happening during the challenges. So I mean, we still see people coming into the Rock Street location to use our fitness center and to just kind of check out what's going on with our classes. But the Cuss Middle School has been a wonderful new location for us.
That's it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News every Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m. But our online news site is available 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. One program note, FRC Media is following the Bristol Community College men's basketball team as they compete in the NJCAA Division III Regional Tournament this weekend in Springfield. We'll be streaming the Bayhawks games live through our website, frmedia.org, beginning with the semifinals Saturday at 6 p.m. If the Bayhawks prevail, the regional championship will take place Sunday at 3 p.m. The games will air on FRC TV beginning Monday at 7 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.